Today's video is sponsored by Peerspace. Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a few different ways that you can spice up your portraits. Now, sometimes when you do a lot of photo shoots, you might be doing a lot of testing, working with agencies, different models all the time. Sometimes it can get a little bit boring and it's hard to kind of think of new creative ideas to do on personal work or even for commercial work. So I wanted to go through a few different tips today on how you can make your portraits a little bit more interesting just by doing a few little adjustments on the shoot day and maybe bringing a prop or two. So I'm going to get straight into it today and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So the first way you can spice up your beauty portraits is by using gels. Now I know that gels are sometimes a little bit tricky to use if you've never used them before, but they're actually fairly easy to use once you get the hang of them. And sometimes you really don't have to do too much with them. I quite often use gels to create a different backdrop color if I don't have a particular color that I need or want. And usually I'll do this by putting a secondary light with the gel across it and having it angled towards a plain white backdrop. But there's so many different combinations of how you can use gels in photo shoots. You can also use them on a primary light and a secondary light. You can have them angled towards the model's skin tone, or you can have opposing colors that really create an interesting contrast. There's so many infinite ways to use gels to really create that interest and color and really give that pop of color into your work. The next thing I'm going to mention as to how you can spice up your portraits is actually by using a bit of motion blur. Now this is more of an artistic feel, most definitely, but it can really be great for editorial style portraits. Especially if you've got some shimmer or sparkles in the shot, you can actually drag the shutter a little bit with the motion blur to create some little light trails, which is really cool and can really create an interesting effect in your portraits. So as I said, you can usually do this by just having a very slow shutter speed and sort of moving the camera. I always find it best to get the model to stay very still and for me to move the camera because I can control it a little bit more than unfortunately the model probably can. But that's generally how I like to use a bit of motion blur with my subjects. And a quick word from today's video sponsor, Peerspace. As fashion, beauty, and portrait photographers, one of the most important elements in the photo shoot planning process is finding the right location. And as we all know, this is not always an easy task. Not only can it be time consuming when you're physically location scouting, but it can also be very expensive and sometimes even frustrating for a freelancer. I can't tell you how many times I've come across the perfect location for a photo shoot, only to find out that the property owners don't rent it out, or the fact that it's well out of my budget. Sourcing a photo shoot location should really be an inspiring and simplified process. This is where Peerspace comes in. Peerspace makes some of the most amazing studios and colorful shooting locations accessible to creatives all over the world, helping you bring your photo shoot ideas to life. When I was just starting out with photography, one of the biggest roadblocks that I faced was finding a photo shoot location. Not only were there limited ways of finding interesting and beautiful spaces to shoot in, but even hiring something such as a simple studio became a really expensive task, especially as a student. In all honesty, I could have only dreamed about a site like Peerspace existing at that time. Peerspace is an easy booking platform that allows you to pay by the hour for interesting and unique spaces at every price point. If you want to book a simple studio with a cyc wall, or a light-filled New York style loft, or even an elaborate vintage mansion with manicured gardens, Peerspace helps these dreams become real possibilities for your creative pursuits. Peerspace has over 40,000 creative spaces around the world, including cities across the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, and Australia. If you're interested in booking a Peerspace for your next photo shoot, make sure you visit the link in the description box below by December 31st to get 10% off your next booking. So if you're really looking for a way to spice up your photo shoots, make sure you check out Peerspace. And now back to the video. The next way is adding a little bit of a soft blur to the image. Now you can do this in post-production, but I have actually done this on the shoot day before, and I've honestly just used a piece of plastic that I moved in front of the lens and kind of maneuvered it where I wanted it. It definitely took a little bit of experimenting on the day to get the kind of right shots that I wanted, but it definitely adds that very dreamy, glowy feel to the portraits. It can also give it a bit of a vintage vibe if you're after kind of like a 70s disco kind of look with your images. It's just another way to really spice them up a bit more and to add that little bit more interest back into the shot. The next way you can spice up your portraits is by using shadows, and this is one of my favorite ways to spice up my portraits. You can use different fabrics, foliage, and other objects to create interesting shadows across the subject's face. In the past, I've used countless different random objects in front of the camera lens to create an interesting effect or composition. It's really all about experimenting and really just trying new things when it comes to this factor. I even did a video in the last couple of years where I just bought a few different random objects from the grocery store and actually used them at my next photo shoot that I had in Sydney, and just kind of tried out different things with each of those objects. You can actually go and see that video. The link is down in the description box below if you want to watch that. But I really did just experiment on this particular day to see what I could come up with, and there was definitely some little surprises there of what really does look interesting in composition and what looks interesting in front of a lens. You can also use things like different lens filters to also add a little bit of interest back in your shots. Okay guys, well I hope you really enjoyed this video today on some different ways that you can spice up your portraits. Please let me know down in the comment section below what your favorite way is to spice up your portraits. I'm really interested to hear what everyone else does to kind of stay creative when they're doing their test shoots or commercial shoots even. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure that you do, because I'll be posting a lot more content in future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!